Okay, universal income. Now, I know it's been trialed in Finland, and for me, it wasn't trialed for long enough. These are the reasons why it's probably going to fail. Now, despite it being probably the best thing that the world needs, especially with automation, with AI, with robots, with everything that's going on in the world, there's a lot of jobs we're going to lose very, very, very quickly. So we need to adapt faster than we actually can do. Whether you're in the UK, America, China, it doesn't matter. The likelihood is that a lot of jobs are going to be lost within the next 2 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, absolutely. And so if there's not work out there, if there's not employment out there, how are we going to look after people on a country basis, on a region basis, on a continent basis, or on a global basis? Now, if you're going to say, okay, you don't need to do anything and you're going to get $1,000 a month or whatever it costs to live above the poverty line and live okay in your home country, and you're going to get that off the government and that's going to be paid into your bank account every month, that's great, because in one way it takes people off the streets. It takes people, and let me get to this first of all, but it takes people off the streets. We should be at a point after 150 years, 200 years, we should be at a point in most places, especially in the developed world, where we don't have anybody on the streets. We should, as a man, as a human being, we should be looking after people that need looking after. The sick, the elderly, the young, people who can't look after themselves. We've got to be looking after. And that's the left side of me. What we're not taking into consideration, and that's so important, is if you tell somebody that they can stay home and they're going to get an amount of money, there's a level of complacency that those people will have, a lack of purpose, a lack of fulfillment. There's so many things that we're not considering properly that will come. Like, we're already facing more mental health issues across the world, but especially across the developed world. People don't have a reason why. People don't have a purpose to get up in the morning. So what you're going to take away from them, and it's not just kind of going to work, and your sole reason for going to work is not just to earn money and then pay your bills and pay gradually growing bills, because you're getting a bigger house, inflation, bigger car, a nicer car, more family, etc. You're going to pay schooling fees, all these different things that come into the equation. Your purpose is to improve and to gradually grow in your career and leap forward. And your career, as well as your hobbies, as well as your sport, whatever else you're doing, your purpose in life is to grow as a person. I don't know whether it's the meaning of life, but it's as close to it as I possibly feel, together with love. It's as close to it as I feel, that for making the very best version of yourself, without wanting to use the cliche, constant growth and self-development is the most important thing in your life. Together with looking after your family, looking after your partner, looking after your everybody in your group, everybody in your tribe, it's self-development and growth. And without a career, with not the need to go to work because you're just going to get help from the government, leave that to people who really need it. That's how I've always felt. Like, the people who really need income support because they're going through a bad phase, that should be left for them. If you're an able-bodied person, you can be useful right now. You can be useful somewhere, whether it's packing boxes, whether it's stacking shelves in a supermarket, whether it's pumping gas, whatever you can do, you can make useful. If you really think about it now, whatever your entrepreneurial background, you could think of a problem that needs solving, and you could therefore think of a business. You should be thinking like that, and you should be thinking like that from a really young age, because you need to, especially in this climate, you need to have multiple revenue streams. But to then, and I know everybody's not built like that, and we're going to sort of get to that, but the key skills that you need to kind of develop from school is socializing, your ability to communicate, present, and problem solving. Simple as that. Once you've got those three skills, not memorizing dates from history classes or what a certain plant is doing in geography, but once you've got those three skills, and especially the communication, then you could pretty much do anything. You could put your hand to everything. If you read, you can write, you're ahead of most of the people in the world right now. So you should be useful, and especially if you come from a developed country, somewhere in Europe, somewhere in America, Middle East, you've got to be running with that golden passport that you have. It is a golden ticket, and you owe it to yourself to do something with that, because it's very, very lucky that you've been born into that country, and it's just a look of the jaw. You could have been born into Myanmar and you've been suppressed for the last 100 years, whatever, you know. There's lots of perspective that you should be able to take from kind of looking at the world and please realize for me, I've lived in a lot of countries, I've traveled to a lot of places, and I've seen what the world is. I am so grateful that I'm from the UK. I'm not the most patriotic person. We do a lot of things wrong in the UK, including these discussions around universal income, but free healthcare, free education, pretty relatively safe place to grow up, and some kind of democracy. Like, to have those four things, you're literally in the top 1-2% in the world. And if you don't run with that, you don't take on board the education, listen at school, and then run with the ball, then you're letting yourself down. You're letting everybody else around you. You're letting your mum and dad down. It doesn't matter what kind of, like, whatever your situation and whatever you were born into, mother and father, you'll get to a point in your life where you just have to kind of, whether it takes therapy, whether it takes rehab, whatever it takes, in order for you to realize that, unlearn those lessons that you were taught if you were taught wrong, and relearn the new stuff that is going to get you to where you want to be and who you want to be. You'll quickly learn that, whether you're kind of 22 or whether you're 45 or 55. You're going to learn that. It's better to learn it as soon as you possibly can in your life. Really cold, hard lesson, but you've got to learn that. So, just going back to the original issue, and we're talking millions of people, if you're asking millions of people to stay home, and every month they're going to get paid by the government, whether they do anything or not, the idealistic thought is that, people will maybe read more and maybe kind of do more of the hobby and maybe do more fitness. Absolutely true for some people. What about the people that we're already seeing? If you look at the Norwegian system and the amount that people on income support get, they have a crazy problem with alcohol in Scandinavia, a crazy problem with alcohol. And so if you can already see how people react. You're going to get, if you look around you and you look at the people you went to school with, if some people were given, let's say $10,000 a month, there's some people that you know that would turn that into hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. Some people would put that to work. They wouldn't go out and buy fancy things. They would put it to work. They would make businesses. They would buy property. They would make a property portfolio. They would put it to work for them so that they kind of were building something that would create jobs, et cetera, and can contribute to society, be productive. Like, be part of a productive country and be part of a productive society and be on the good side. There's people who would just take that $10,000 a month and just, this is a great life, fantastic, don't have to do anything, I've got all this spare time, and very quickly that $10,000 actually wouldn't be enough and they'd get into debt. You know these people. And then there'd be people who within no time would be borrowing on that $10,000 and would be getting into alcohol problems, drug problems, all sorts of problems, because they have all the time in the world available and money that they don't deserve, they haven't earned, and so that is spent so much faster. These are the things that we're not thinking about when it comes to universal income. If you agree, let me know in the comments, like, tell me kind of if this resonates with you, and equally, even better, if you disagree and you think that it's the only solution, and or you have an even better solution, somewhere like a midway house or something like that, a halfway house, let me know as well. Let me know your thoughts. I think it's a really interesting topic because within the next 2 to 10 years, this is going to be in place in a lot of places in the world.